welcome to another episode of Ask an Assistant, the podcast for executive assistants and the people that love us. I'm your host, Jess Lindgren. Let's get to work. This week's question comes from Esteemed Colleague Jamie, who wrote in via askanassistant.com with the following question. Jamie says, "Hi Jess, I found a typo in an email a client sent to me. It is a really crucial mistake, but I don't want to come across as rude when pointing it out. Help." Jamie, I love this question. This definitely ties into Ask an Assistant episode 71 on the importance of language, specifically when it comes to the word should. When noticing and bringing up, notice I say not pointing out mistakes, we're not pointing fingers, we're not slinging blame, we are noticing and bringing them up. We are noticing and bringing up the mistakes. I personally like to couch them in soft, hopefully not patronizing language, never telling someone what they should do to fix things. A recent example comes to mind. This actually happened to me about a week ago, where someone sent some conflicting messages. And so here's the note that I sent to them in response. I said, "Hey friend, I noticed that we have 2 calendar invites from your team. One says the interview will take place on Zencastr, while the other says Riverside. I think Riverside is correct since we booked the interview a month ago and received the Riverside link today. If that is the case, you may wish to adjust the language in your booking software to reflect the change in your process. Thanks." In this instance, I showed my work by reading through previous emails about the situation. I connected the dots on the timeline and sent my suggestion under, the suggestion that they consider making a change. I also like to phrase it as if the invite came from the team rather than one specific person, since truly, at the end of the day, I have no clue who actually sent the appointment. I have full calendar access, full email access, full Calendly scheduling access for my executive. I don't write things as him very often. We'll discuss that in a different episode, put a pin in that. But it could have come from anyone, including the host of the interview themselves. So it's just only fair to come at the conversation as though I don't know who set the appointment. I don't know who set up the booking software process. When things change, when you make big changes like moving from Zencastr to Riverside or anything like that, there's always going to be little places where there are lingering artifacts of your previous process and your previous processes and systems and softwares. So it's a team effort to get these things set up in the first place. It's a team effort to maintain them. And sometimes, even if you don't work at the company, you get roped in and you're part of the team. I really cannot overstate just how much I truly care about others doing well. And I never want to come across like I think I'm better than other people or that I'm throwing anybody under the bus. We all do better when we all do better. And when important information like the who, what, when, where, why of it all is involved, an external set of eyes can be a huge help. Plus, fixing seemingly small mistakes starts a ripple effect of saving their team work in the long run. It's work, it's confusion, it's interfacing with external and internal parties. Like, as a super bonus added plus, finding and diplomatically raising small mistakes is a testament to your attention to detail and speaks highly of your skills. By and large, I will say I am extremely fortunate to work with people who appreciate a second set of eyes on their systems and processes. In my current role of 12 plus years, I have only ever been met with hostility by a couple of people. Those people in question later realized that the things I brought up were indeed mistakes that needed fixing, and that my bringing them up days or weeks, sometimes months before, could have saved them a lot of headaches had they listened. However, I fully understand and appreciate I am the same way. Nobody likes having their mistakes pointed out. I do my best to receive that with grace, with gratitude, saying, thank you so much for pointing that out. I will definitely make that change. That actually happened to me earlier today. I had somebody picking some nits in a canned response that I send out. And I just said, you know what? Thanks so much for the note. I'd love to make that change. Went ahead and made the change, cleared it up a little bit. I have learned, however, getting back to the topic at hand, that when someone meets me with hostility, I make my suggestions through different avenues. Going back to just, I care so much about people doing well. And at the end of the day, I care so much more about the situation being fixed than I do about being the person who gets credit for noticing. The right people at the end of the day know that you were the one who noticed it, know that you were the one who brought the solution to the table. If you're being met with hostility by somebody, who cares? Like, bring it up through the person that they'll listen to. At the end of the day, you just really need things to get done and fixed. The other option, and this is not my favorite option, but sometimes you do just have to let people touch the hot stove. Let the mistake bite them in the butt when it finally is noticed. Like, if you're getting enough resistance, enough of an attitude from somebody when you bring something up, like, just let them. It is not the most mature way to handle it. I always prefer, even though nobody loves having their mistakes called out, I would rather, gripe about it privately, like, oh, I can't believe that person brought that up. But at the end of the day, set your ego aside. It doesn't matter about who's right or who's wrong. It matters about the information being correct, whatever that information might be. If we're using the same example as before about conflicting calendar invite locations as an example, that's going to bite them in the butt when my executive shows up late due to the mixed messaging. Like, I was looking at the calendar and noticed that there were 2 appointments for the exact same time. One said Riverside, one said Zencastr. I know for a fact my executive would end up clicking on the Zencastr one, and instead of clicking on the second Riverside one, would then message me and be like, where am I supposed to be? Nobody's at the Zencastr, or there's no Zencastr link in the appointment. Like, if I just let that go, the other team that we're supposed to be interviewing with, it's going to bite them in the butt because my executive will be late. My executive might not take the time to reach out to me to try and figure out where they're supposed to be. That means either a late or a no-show due to the mixed messaging. Again, I really want, A, I want the interview to go through. B, I want to give a good impression to the person that we're interviewing with. And C through Z, like, it just, again, we all do better when we all do better. It's a tiny little mistake. It's a tiny little thing that I noticed, and just bringing it up, they were so grateful. And they're just like, oh my gosh, we did make that switch. This is the one lingering place, clearly, that we didn't tighten up our process. So I always think it's better, but again, we are not pointing these mistakes out. We are bringing them up. We are being diplomatic. Other situations are definitely coming to mind where other folks have not been super diplomatic, and maybe sometimes I even haven't been super diplomatic. Let's be real. But I'd love to hear from you about situations where mistakes were pointed out, whether they were your mistake or someone else's mistake. And I just said it right there, point it out. We're not pointing mistakes out. Where mistakes were brought up to us, whether we were the one doing the bringing or we were the one whose mistake was brought up. How has this happened in your professional sphere? I would love to hear from you. How were they heard or not heard by the other party? How were they heard or not heard by you? And how did things eventually get resolved? I will be sharing another example over on the Substack this week. So that's askanassistant.substack.com. It'll be linked in the show notes. Make sure you are subscribed, and I would love it if you chimed in with your thoughts and experience. And that's everything for this week. Jamie, I really hope that helped answer your question about diplomatically bringing up and hopefully subsequently resolving mistakes when you catch them. I hope everybody listening that you are as happy, healthy, and or hydrated as you can be, or at least 2 of the 3, because, not every week is perfect. As always, leave your comments, questions, thoughts, and concerns for me at askanassistant.com. I don't have a show without you, and truly love hearing from you whenever you reach out. And until next week, take care.